The global order is shifting more deeply than at any time since the Cold War ended, said European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. According to Politico, in recent weeks she has held talks with leaders from Iceland, New Zealand, Malaysia, the Philippines, Canada, India, and the United Arab Emirates. The trade war declared by U.S. President Donald Trump in April this year is pushing many countries to seek new and reliable partners, and the European Union may play a central role.
In a more and more unpredictable global environment, countries are lining up to work with us. In the middle of the chaos, Europe stands firm, grounded in values, ready to shape what comes next. Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, in an interview with Politico.
This intensifying dialogue between the EU and international partners is a direct result of President Trump's decision to impose tariffs on goods from over 180 countries. Most of the affected nations are facing tariffs ranging from 10% to 54%, while China is being hit with a steep 145% rate. In response, Beijing has vowed to retaliate in kind. Meanwhile, the European Union has opted for a 90-day pause before introducing its own 25% counter tariffs on U.S. steel and aluminum, a reaction to Washington's April 9th move to temporarily suspend a 20% duty on all goods from the EU.
The European Commission is working on its offer for trade negotiations with the United States to attempt to avoid Trump's planned tariffs, with both sides signaling that energy could form part of a broader trade deal. Trump has said several times the EU should buy more American oil and gas to lower its trade surplus with the United States. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has said the EU could increase US LNG purchases as the bloc seeks to quit Russian gas by 2027, writes Reuters.
One potential element of an EU-US trade deal includes changes to the EU's methane emission rules. According to Reuters, this could involve the introduction of technical adjustments that would allow US gas exporters to formally meet European environmental standards. Amid the tariff offensive from the Trump administration, EU member states, along with countries like China, are exploring ways to manage the fallout. For instance, in late July 2025, Hong Kong will host the 50th EU summit. Earlier, the EU and China agreed to discuss the introduction of minimum pricing for Chinese-made electric vehicles.
The EU increased tariffs on Chinese-built EVs to as much as 45.3% last October, but Brussels and Beijing have floated the idea of lifting the tariffs through possible commitments to minimum prices, known as price undertakings for imported cars, writes Reuters.
According to the latest projections, the U.S. GDP could shrink by up to 1.4% by 2027 due to the impact of the new tariffs. The EU economy, in contrast, is expected to see a much smaller decline of about 0.2%. Japanese economist Shozaburo Sakai is also confident the U.S. tariffs will ultimately hurt the American economy itself.
US tariffs will inevitably backfire on every country and ultimately on the United States itself. This presents a very serious challenge to US GDP growth. The tariffs will trigger sharp price increases, worsening the US economic outlook. Moreover, with fixed purchasing power, any cost increase will naturally lead to reduced consumption. Simply put, goods won't sell. As a result, prices will rise, but products will remain on the shelves.
U.S. tariffs risk damaging the global economy, which is why the European Union is committed to avoiding such a negative scenario, said EU Commissioner Valdis Dombrovskis earlier. Reported by Yulia Hranovska, UATV News.